Hey, everybody. Thank you for joining me. I'm going to wait till see if we can get a few more people on here before I get started. Hey, thanks for the host there. Appreciate that. Yeah, there's been a few changes. Echo should not be any echo. You might hear my TV in the background. I'll mute that. That should get rid of it. Should not be any echo because I don't hear it here. Doc, Becky. Yeah, I think it might have been my TV. I had it turned down, but I'm still watching the Weather Channel to see what they might come up with. There's some good news, and there's some maybe not so good news. Hey, Molly, try to get a few more viewers on here before I get started so I don't have to repeat so much. Hey, Skywarn. Not too bad. I've had some local issues going on here that I've been trying to deal with. I don't want to really go into it, but it could be a life-threatening situation. Hey, Raven. Glad you're back from the hospital, man. So we're getting a few more people. Wait a little bit and we'll get started. Hey, Jen. Jennifer, I don't think you want to try to chase this one unless you want to plan a trip to Bermuda. Is Bermuda going to get hit? Possibility. Hey, everybody else that's joining me here. Jen, I really think you need to go to Bermuda. Ah, come on. You don't want to. You don't want to wait. Hey, Rippy. Yeah, you could get over there to Bermuda, get a nice tan, enjoy yourself a little bit, and get nailed by a hurricane. Hey, Rippy, I got your message over there on YouTube. I didn't quite understand about the swarm. Yeah, I'm kind of getting rest. Sort of, kind of. Yeah, Becky, I did. That's Josh. That was an awesome video. Now, Rippy, if you was talking uh, about a swarm of bugs that are showing up on radar, I have seen that happen. Uh, when I lived over in Illinois, uh, when the mayflies hatch along the Mississippi, they'll actually show up on radar. It's weird looking. I've seen flocks of bats, birds, bugs that will, if they're enough of them, they'll actually show up on radar. I think that's what you're talking about. Okay, let's get started here, folks. As you can see behind me here, this is now, as you can see at the bottom of the screen, a tropical depression. It still don't have a name yet because the winds are only 30 miles per hour. Climate machines? No, I think they may be NEXRAD signatures, but the guy keeps saying it's climate machines. I think the guy don't have a clue what he's talking about. Oh, wow. Wow, TV4. The KGBT. Where is that? I haven't seen him yet, Southpaw. You sent me some bits. That happened with my son. So anyway, this is Tropical Depression 9. Oh, Harlington, Texas. Oh, that's sad, man. Especially that young. 26 years old. Wow. And it's really hard to see the center. I'll try to point it out. It's about right there. It's really hard to see. Oh, wow, man. Oh. That's sad. But that's about where the center is. Now I'm going to turn the satellite off. You can see where the Bahamas is. And these ones up in here were the one that hit by Dorian. So it's kind of looking. Now this is another storm like Dorian that, Dorian stayed pretty much east loaded. As you can see from where I got the low pressure symbol there, most of the storms are on the east and northeast side. Now this is going to be really great for Bermudas if it stays this way. Actually, Raven, you don't have to change the radar settings. If the flock of butterflies during their migration is large enough, they'll show up because they're larger than mayflies, and I've seen flocks of mayflies show up on radar. So anyway, PTC 9 is now a tropical depression 9. Again, the winds are only 30 miles per hour, and it hasn't got a name yet, and that's the reason why, because it's not that strong yet. Pressure 1,008 millibars, moving northwest at 8. It went stationary last night. Then after my broadcast, it went like 1 mile per hour, 2 mile per hour, and just kind of meandered until today, and it started to speed up back to the northwest. So let's take a look. First off, here's the next interesting thing that I think Jen's waiting for. We got two others out here. We got these two others. And the first one, they've got that up to a 50-50 chance in the next 5 days of forming. And these, if you remember last night, if you was watching, I said these are going to travel fast. Well, both of these are. And you got one right behind it that's at 40% over 5 days. And when I show you the models here in a little bit, you can see these things are screaming. And it's just amazing that in 5 days, this first one here, could be over the Leeward Islands and possibly take the same track as Dorian did. But let's go ahead and look at the cone. Let me switch this here. This might be easier for you to see. Look how that cone changed from last night. Remember last night I told you they wasn't sure where the center of it is. And the GFS had it coming across here. The European had it coming right there. So they put that cone right in between them. That was their best guess. Now the models are starting to come together because they think they found the center of it. And which is what I was showing you a little bit ago. And there's still, you see these blue squiggly lines down here. Those are tropical storm warnings. They're still out for the Bahamas. Although, if this thing stays northeast loaded and east loaded, these islands down here will get missed with a lot of the rain. Now they do up in here have it start making tropical storm status, but it looks like Abaco Island and the Grand Bahamas is going to miss the worst of this thing. Now they do have it turned into a hurricane after it makes that big right turn. But people in Florida, keep an eye on this. I mean, you still got a tropical storm watch, along part of the coast here, right in there. That's tropical storm watch. And the reason why they're doing that, remember what Dorian did? It went outside the cone. So it is a possibility that this thing could go here or go here. Now remember, the cone is where they think the center is going to go, okay? Not the whole storm, just the center. So if the center kind of lays over here on the left side, then parts of Florida coast is going to get some damaging winds. And remember that counterclockwise rotation. So as this thing comes up through here, you're going to start seeing these winds push the waves into shore. So Florida, even though it's not looking like it's going to take a direct hit, they're still going to get storm surge off of this, depending on how strong it is. There is a rip current warning. The whole east coast of Florida is under rip current warnings. If it turns right, what's the chance of it turning back around again? It could. Let me show you the cone of uncertainty. Okay, pretty much the solid white area is what they're pretty well thinking where it's going to go. But the rest of this cone, where it's got the dotted line, that's your cone of uncertainty. Is it going to head over here to Bermuda? Very well could. Could this thing turn and make a bound for the coast? It could. Remember Dorian. Hey, Riverwind. Cool, Rippy. Thanks for coming over. A lot better for you to be over here on Twitch. So, remember Dorian. It didn't behave according to the models. So, there's still so much uncertainty. And plus, it's so close to us, we're not 100% sure what this thing's going to do. But at least over the next day or two, unless this thing, really starts filling in on the west side, the Bahamas, which, okay, this is the Grand Bahama that Dorian hit. And here's Force Abaco. So it looks like the worst of it's going to miss them. I hope. I really do. So let's hope it stays this way till it gets past there. All the models are pretty much showing that. But if it starts filling in like Dorian did on the west side, they're going to get nailed again. But I think most likely it will start to fill in when it gets further northwest. Now, as I zoom out, you could see counterclockwise rotation. Right in there. That's going to be one of the steering mechanisms. And it's already affecting it. Remember, lows are counterclockwise. So what's happening, and one reason why this thing is all loaded over on the eastern side is because of this circulation around this low. So it's got wind shear. The wind shear is pushing all them storms over on the eastern side. That's the reason why it's all lopsided right now. It's kind of meandering around. I really don't think it's going to do much. Just kind of hanging out there. Now, we've had a high pressure that's been bringing me the most horrible heat here in southwest Ohio. There's a low up here. You can see the comma shape. That's the low that's been producing storms for days and tornadoes. This is the same system that Nathan was chasing the other day. Now it's over here in the east. Well, what's going to happen is this front up of this thing going to push down. And when it does, what's going to happen to this high? It's going to weaken it. That's what's going to allow number 9 to start turning north. And then as that ridge pushes east, they're thinking as of right now, that's what's going to steer it around and make it go out to sea. It's because that high is going to move off the southeast over here. Clockwise motion is going to help to steer it. Nathan went live. What the heck's he doing? He's probably playing games instead of watching me. Oh, he's not interested in this storm, so. Yeah, I've seen his schedule. I knew he was going to play games. But if somebody happens to be watching, give him heck. Why ain't you watching Barry? You got to support Barry. No, don't do that. I'm just kidding. So that's what we're expecting for Tropical Depression, or TD, number 9. So we can start looking at some models. I don't know how much when I show the models that you guys really appreciate it, but I'm hoping you might learn a little something. This is the HWRF model. It's specifically designed for hurricanes and tropical storms. So when I put this in motion, watch what this little thing does. Now, this is only one of so many models. Now, this has it getting awful close to the coast. But it's early yet. You know, this is days out. This is like still Monday, Tuesday of next week. Now here's the GFS. Now watch down here in the bottom right. Now let me stop it and back up here. Look where that ends up getting close to. Savannah, Georgia. They're at, I think that's Tidbit Beach, something like that. And that would be Monday. That's where the GFS has it. It has it as a little bit weaker storm, but getting closer to the coast. And then skirting out to sea. Now, when we compare that to Euro, here comes. Boom, shoots right out. So they're not exactly tracking quite yet, but it's a lot closer than it was yesterday. So, yesterday the GFS had it crossing Florida and going into the Gulf up there around the Panhandle. So now the GFS, and I always say this, I follow the Euro first and I wait for the GFS to come around. Hey, thanks for the new follow. And I wait for that GFS to start coming around and getting close to what the Euro says. Yeah, Tybee Island. Thanks, Southpaw. That's what I was trying to think of, not the beach. Which, when it gets closer, I'll bring up the webcam. I've saved the link for that from Dorian. So that's the Euro. Now, as far as water temperatures, let's switch back and look at thermodynamics. Again, just like I was saying last night, when Dorian went up along the coast, it sucked up all the warm water, and then all the cold water from down deep came to the top. And so that's the reason why you see these greens and yellows up there. But still, over here around the coast, it's up in the 80s. That's plenty. That's plenty warm enough. So some of the models that's got this maybe making a Cat 3 hurricane after it makes that right turn and starts going towards Bermuda. So very well, Bermuda could get hit. But like I say on this code, and the way this one formed, even though it didn't actually start to really form until it got closer, unlike Dorian, but this one still got some of the same characteristics as Dorian did in my book. This is my opinion. So once it gets into that cone of uncertainty, 2 p.m. Tuesday, or around Tuesday afternoon, it could go anywhere. It's a little early yet to figure out where the all the steering mechanism is going to go. Where's that low going to go, or what does it do that's over in the Gulf? This high that's going to get off the southeast and go east, how's that going to play into it? And is there going to be another high that might form, another ridge, and change the steering of it? All those factors, we got to wait and see what it's going to do. Hey, Raven. Thanks for joining me, bud. Cheyenne, Wyoming. So that's that one. But I tell you what, I'm kind of like Jennifer, kind of watching this next one. The next two, actually. I tell you what, out of about 3 more tropical waves coming, one of these is bound to hit us. So let me zoom in here. Up there, the upper left, that's TD9. Then we got this one. And you got that one. And then you got another one over here coming off the coast of Africa. What's the percentage for which one? I mean, we got several. By the way, this next one I forgot to mention. This first one here, that's actually already got an invest number. It's 96L. So this first one that's headed for the Leeward Islands, that's got a 20 and 48 hour and 50% over the next 5 days. And the other one is not far behind. Ruh-roh, we got a new one. This just came out. Lie, this one just came out. We only had 2 when I started. So, we got one here in front now. Headed for the Leeward Islands at 30%. The second one, which is the one that I was really wanting to watch, is 50%. And then we got this other one, it's only 20%. So now I got 3 areas to watch back here. Now that they added this new one, yeah, these tropical waves, they come off about every 3 to 5 days off of Africa. So they kind of dropped this one and upped the chance on the one back here. But then this other one just showed up with only a 20% over 5 days. Now, I think a couple of these are going to merge. Being that close together. Let's go back to satellite. This one should be 96L right there in the center of the screen. That's the one I'm kind of concerned. But apparently, they're giving some interest in that one and that one, as well as that one. Let's put that in motion. Now, it's going to blink a little bit while it loads the tiles out. Put this thing in motion. See what's going up. Now remember, when these waves, and I want to stop this a minute and kind of explain something about these tropical waves. Okay, let's say we got this tropical wave here. The winds, it's not a wave in the ocean. It's a wave in the winds. So what you're going to have, just imagine that yellow line there. That's the leading edge of a tropical wave, which is a low pressure system. But they don't have fronts down there in the ocean. But what's going to happen here, and I'll draw it in blue, is the winds will come up and drop down like that. That's the reason why they call it a wave. Now I'll go ahead and put that back into motion. And most of the time, you won't see any good circulation out there. You'll see some, but the conditions aren't really favorable down in that part of the Atlantic for tropical storm formation. Not usually. Sometimes, but not usually. So these waves will carry on, but they carry the DNA and the moisture. So when it gets further west, then they blow up. So this is way too far out. Uh, but these are moving pretty fast, especially that one in the middle. But we got to keep a close eye on everything. Now, let me zoom out. Let me switch to water vapor. Now, water vapor, like I always say, is really cool to watch because it shows you things that visible and infrared doesn't show you. Hey, thanks for the bets. I appreciate that. Notice the clockwise spin on this one. There's a high pressure just to the right side of that clockwise spin. So I really not giving a whole lot of chance on that one. This one down here, this is the one that kind of concerns me for the next storm. I haven't seen your bits, Southpaw, unless I missed it. I'll zoom out a little bit further. Now remember here, when before Dorian, we had all this dark brown over here off the coast of Africa, and that was Saharan dust and super dry air. And notice there's no more brown there. I think there is some dust coming off. Oh, it's here at 11. Oh, okay. I must have missed it. Sometimes stream labels is not telling me. Okay, it just popped up. 10 bits Subway 10 bonus. By the way, this is still September. Twitch Prime is 50% off. So as you can see here, the motion of what's going on. Here is that low in the Gulf. Let it load up and you'll see it spinning counterclockwise. I love looking at water vapor. I can see it any time of day. I don't need daylight like I do visible. But you can see that counterclockwise motion, and that's going to be the steering factor for TD9. Now, I'm also watching, here's this low that's now in Canada. But it'll ever finish loading. Okay, thanks, Becky. There you can see that low. And I'll pause it here. Look at that comma shape coming all the way down and going out in New Mexico and even parts of Arizona. And that's what's causing a lot of these storms. Whoops. In Ohio right now, northern Ohio. And again, this brown area, that's dry air. So that's behind the front. But it's cool to watch that. Now I'm also watching to see what's coming next week. I'll switch over to GOES 17, which is the Western satellite. And I'm not seeing anything good. A lot of times I'll see some low pressure counterclockwise spins out here in the Pacific, and it'll come across and end up creating severe storms, possible tornadoes, and that's what we chase. So I look at the Pacific to see what's coming, so I know how to plan next week. But I really don't see anything good. So there you go. Now, okay, Molly, thanks for coming. We'll catch you on the next one. Now, I do want to mention some things here. And it didn't pop up. Okay, sometimes I'm asked, and I was again the other day, are you a meteorologist? No, I'm not. This is a hobby. I don't get paid for this. And unless you all help me. But I'm a weather analyst. So I go through and analyze what I see and all the information that I get and try to relay the most accurate information that I can and up to date information. Now, it came to my attention, and I was asked about it a couple times already. There's other people on Twitch that's kind of doing what I do. That doesn't make me jealous. It doesn't make me jealous at all. As long as they're giving accurate, up to date, correct information, that's great. The more people get the word out, the better, because those people has got followers that I don't have. So to get the critical information out to keep people safe, that's great. I love it. The more the better. But boy, there are some on there on Twitch that oh my God. With Dorian, I seen it. This one guy. Now you got to understand that NEXRAD radar that was along the coast for Dorian, it could only reach out so far, and you all seen it when I was broadcasting. You know, you might get to see the eye and everything between there and the coast, everything on the western side, but you can't see the whole storm on NEXRAD because those radar beams don't reach that far out. And this guy was trying to say that all the rain was on the western side. There was no rain on the eastern side. If he would have known how to look at the infrared and the water vapor, he would have seen it. But and then I was reminded again last night, the same person, and I'm not going to mention any names, but he was giving false hurricane information about this storm. It's not even a hurricane. But be careful, people. If I don't mind if you go watch somebody else, unless I'm broadcasting. Then you better come back here. But be careful who you watch. And the other guy, he looks more professional and got a short haircut, wears a tie. That don't prove nothing. And thank you. I try to do the best that I can. But he looks professional. But good Lord, if he's going to start talking meteorology, he better bone up on it. So that's my disclaimer. Again, on these tropical storms, they need fuel. They need warm water. The warmer, the better. And there's also all kinds of factors of when they're forming, the size of them, the dry air, the shear, the landfalls, or even getting close to land, water temperatures. There's just so much that goes on with these. I am now getting information from all the recon flights that's going into it. There's been several today and yesterday, and I follow the Dropzone data and their wind field data, and now that there is warnings and watches put out for lands, I'm getting updates every 3 hours. So it's so close to land, man. We got to really watch this one. This one, it doesn't have me real bad worried, but I'm a little cautious about this one because if it does anything like Dorian, this thing could be crazy. But, like I was saying earlier, and yeah, Dylan, Bahamas is going to get a break as the way it looks right now. If you look at this, like I was saying a little while ago, the water temperatures in the Gulf, they're still hot. They're still bathtub waters. Here is Abaco Island, and here's Grand Bahama, the two that Dorian just about wiped off the face of the earth. Hey, Mons, thanks for joining me. So as you can see, all the storms are over here on the east side of it. So if it stays like this, if it doesn't getting storms wrapped all the way around, the Bahamas will get a break. They're going to get a break. Oh boy, here goes my throat already. So let's hope it stays that way for a few days. But Dorian kind of did this. It stayed eastern loaded for the longest time. And then after it stalled out over Grand Bahamas, then it got eastern loaded again. And then it started moving. So we got to keep a close eye on this. Again, the low, or the center of it, is about right in there. Excuse me. So everything is off to the side. And I hope it stays that way. Because then people in Abaco and Grand Bahamas, they don't need this. Again, for those just joining me, all the east coast of Florida is under rip current warnings. And I see there's a small marine warning already. That was this baby blue box up here. And that's because of the wraparound winds going counterclockwise. Is going to be shoving the water in towards land. But let's not think that Florida is totally in the clear. Hey, Lee. This thing could go left. It really could. No, I'm still Skyward. I bruised my vocal cord last week, and I'm having a lot of trouble with it. And I'm still, me and my son both, is been trying to get this flu that's going around, but so far we're doing all right. Which, by the way, my son's back on the road, on his way to Laredo. I wanted to go with him. I had the opportunity to go down to Laredo, then out to California, and pick up some produce out there, and then bring it back to Ohio. Hey, Tammy. And But with this tropical storm, I didn't want to just take off and leave you guys hanging. So I'll get another trip. He's going to be doing these run-ins a lot, so we'll wait till things cool down. Now we're still about 50, or excuse me, around 60% left in hurricane season. So we're still in the peak time of year for hurricanes, and as you can see it, I mean, Atlantic Ocean is really firing off. Yeah, I sound a little better, but I sounded better an hour ago. So it's starting to get to me again. So I think that's all I have for now. Let me check something here. Again, for anybody that might be just joining me, this is the latest forecast code. We hope it stays that way. One model actually has it, well, the GFS has it coming up here close to Savannah. Tammy, I wish I could get to a liquor store, but I can't walk that far. If you look at that, of course, it's the cone of uncertainty, but some of the models actually has it headed for Bermuda. I really don't think it's got enough time to hit for Bahamas. I mean, they're still going to get some effects, but since it's all eastern loaded, the really heavy rain is projected to stay away from those two islands that got hit. I, and I was asked this question earlier in private. Do you think it could turn west? Not really. And the reason why is, like I was explaining, we have a low right about there, spinning counterclockwise. That's going to try to shove it up the coast. And we got this high that's been down here in the southeast, bringing me most horrible warm waters, or warm air. Let me say hot, and a lot of humidity. This high, because of the storms system up north and the front that's going to push down, it's going to weaken this high, and it's going to make the high, according to the models, drift off over here. By that time, the storm will be up northern Florida and that. So the counterclockwise of that low, shoving it north, and that high being way over here, spinning around clockwise. And then when it starts dropping down, then it will steer it out to sea. So I do not really expect it at this point to have a chance of turning left and going west. I really don't. At this time. Now let's take a look. Now here's the current global ensemble, and I'll zoom in on it for you. Now this is a culmination of all kinds of models, not just GFS or the Euro or the HWRF. This is a combination of all kinds of models. And as you can see it, for the most part, until it gets up here around Georgia, they all pretty much say the same thing. And then they spread out. And that's because it's too far out in time. Remember when I was showing the cone with the part of the cone that I call the cone of uncertainty? It wasn't solid white. That's where these models are going crazy. It's too far out. Now I can go ahead and show you because I got it here. This is the GFS, all the ensemble runs. What they do is they take and put the information into a model and then they run it like 51 times, I think it is, 50 or 51. And they torque it just a little bit and then rerun it. And then they'll change a little something and rerun it. And that's what they do. And that's how you get all the spaghetti models. So even the GFS, I mean, there's a few that kind of have it going this way, but those are undependable runs. The biggest culmination is it's curving out. And I don't have enough of the model runs to show you that 96L, which is the next one that we're concerned with. Again, these next couple are going to be moving in pretty fast. So I'll have to keep a close eye over all those. So, any questions? Questions, comments? That's pretty much it for now. Although I'm seeing some more light blue boxes, one down around Miami. Those are small craft marine warnings. Well, South Paul, now remember, I said when they're way out there in the Atlantic, the conditions out there are not favorable for it to form out there. But it brings the DNA, the moisture, the strength, and whatnot. It's not spinning, but it's bringing the DNA for a tropical storm. Now, when it gets over to the west, over around Leeward Islands and whatnot, and starts hitting that really warm water, then that's when it'll start forming, and it'll start slowing down. This one did. This one came off of Africa, scooted clear across pretty fast. And then it slowed down and started to form. So that's what's going to happen with these waves that's coming. What's in the Gulf? Just a low pressure system that's creating havoc, but it's helping TD9 because it's keeping, that's what's causing the wind shear. That's the reason why all these storms, now remember, counterclockwise motion, so there's wind shear, and that's what's keeping all the strong storms blowed off on the eastern side of TD9. So that's a good thing for Bahamas. This low pressure is not really expected to do anything except for bring some rain naturally to Florida, but they're used to that crap. It's their rainy season. No, I didn't yet, Rippy. I'll take a look at it. when I get off of here. I'm just trying to go over everything I've already got pulled up. Why'd you go back to YouTube? I thought you was over here on Twitch. Now, a little while ago while I was talking about the guy with the tie, when he started talking about, hey, Stacy, names the storms, he did not mention there's two different lists. There's a tropical storm list for the Atlantic and a separate one for the Pacific. Oh, okay, Reppy, you had to go mobile. Alrighty. You got to get that figured out, man. So, and he didn't discern that for people to understand. Humberto should be the next name, I think. I think. I know we've already had Gabriel, so Humberto should be the next name for TD9, I'm pretty sure. I need to start checking that off. But this is the name list for this year for the Atlantic. Yeah. So, I think that's all I have, folks. Imelda? I don't think so. They haven't used Humberto, have they? I don't think Humberto has been used yet. Don't quote me on that because I've kind of lost track this past week. I've got some things going around here, and my son was here uh, after getting out of the hospital, trying to help him out. Uh, Before he, had to go back on the road again. So I've had a lot going on. So yeah, Becky, that's what I thought. We'll probably find out tomorrow for sure. I'm sorry if I might be wrong, but like Becky was just telling me, there's a lot of people calling it Humberto already. So I think Gabriel was the last name used here in the Atlantic. At least it's not going to get named after me this year. Once was bad enough. So, folks, that's all I have for now. I want to thank everybody for joining me. I got to do my plug. If you like what I do and would like for me to keep coming to you, please find a way, if you can. You don't have to. Donate bits. Twitch Prime is half off this month. Amazon Prime or direct, either through PayPal or at the link that you've seen in the chat. So, if you can, you don't have to. This is a free channel. But what you do is help me to keep coming to you. So, with that, folks, I'm going to call it a night. I am going to schedule 8 o'clock again tomorrow night, give or take 10 or 15 minutes. Okay. And I'm going to get off here before I lose it as far as my throat. But that's my schedule for tomorrow is 8 to 8:15. Maybe earlier if something, dramatic really happens with this thing. I don't think so. So anyway, thanks folks. Thanks for joining me. And thanks for the bits earlier. I appreciate that. We'll catch you on the next broadcast.